What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Gordon Lightfoot. Thank you again to Yvonne, and happy Canada Day to all you Canadians out there. And yes, we're going to continue through the greatest hits compilation I've been working from, and the next track is Go-Go Round, which sounds a bit like a fun throwback phrase you'd hear in a rock and roll song from the 50s or 60s. It makes me think of a merry-go-round. I suppose it could just be a repetition of the word go, and so it's not so much that visual, but still the concept of going round and round. Nevertheless, I don't quite know what to make of it because we have no additional context in the title. Let's give it a listen. I'll see what I can catch. This is Gordon Lightfoot. The track is Go-Go Round, and it's included on a Greatest Hits compilation, listed as the complete Greatest Hits.
Alone upon the sidewalks of despair, 'twas there she wandered, with her suitcase in her hand, her fate she pondered. Only a go-go girl in love with someone who didn't care. She met him on a night so rare when her friends were there and the band was grooving. When he gave a glance that said how much he would like to meet her, how was she to know at the time he would mistreat her? In her cage she danced for him, although 100 eyes would turn her way. And before the set was through, he knew she would be his loved one. Only a go-go girl in love with someone who didn't care. Only 21, she was a young girl just in from somewhere. He's playing up in Michigan in a group they call the Intended. With a kiss and a promise he was gone, the song was ended. But as she walks she waits for him, the pavement is a shoulder for her tears. But in her heart she knows there is no way she can hope to change him. Only a go-go girl in love with someone who didn't care. Only 21, she was a young girl just in from somewhere. Only a go-go girl in love with someone who didn't care. A go-go girl in love.
What a lovely little tune. A sad tune. And it's funny, like, sonically when it started I was thinking, oh, it kind of reminds me of like 60s Beatles. It has a bit of that lyrical quality musically. And then in terms of the way the vocals and the storytelling unfolded, it reminded me of a less Western sounding El Paso by Marty Robbins. Like, I really had this sense where I'm just following every line of the song as he's weaving the story. And the story, I should have thought in advance, go-go dancer. It just didn't occur to me. But yeah, so it's a go-go dancer, presumably from a small town somewhere, and she goes to work at this venue, this, music hall in a bigger city, and she's performing or dancing one night when a band comes into town, and maybe the lead singer, I don't remember if it said specifically, but a member of this band who, has a charismatic way, a charming look, and he sort of, reaches out to her as she dances over the course of the night, and, people are looking at her and enjoying the music, and they make a connection, and he knows very quickly after talking to her that, she has, or he has her interest, and just, she immediately locks onto him. They have a connection, they have a good, let's say, intimacy, but then he's part of a band and he moves on and he tells her essentially that, hey, I'll be back, or I'll never forget what we had together, but mistreats her. I don't think like overtly and in a really negative way, but more just like he sort of promises her that it's going to be something, but then he's out and he's off on the road, and she hears that he's performing somewhere else under a different band's name or so on, or maybe the same band but just with a different name, and she's kind of waiting for him to come back, but she has this sinking realization that he's not going to come back. He is who he is. He probably does this with other girls, other young girls. And indeed, there's a suggestion that because she's just 21, maybe she was a bit naive. But then the line that really got me is that the pavement is like the shoulder for her tears. Like, if you cry on someone's shoulder, but there's no one there for her to cry on their shoulder. And she's just waiting there with her suitcase, hoping that he'll come back to pick her up, but it's not going to happen. And so the pavement, tears falling straight down to the sidewalk, is the only shoulder that she has to cry on. So it's, a sad tale about a young woman learning that, not everyone is as trustworthy or as earnest as they may seem at first, and even if she enjoyed the emotional and intimate connection, that's it. There's going to be no more. So yeah, definitely a very lyrical song, both musically and in terms of the narrative that unfolds. And there's a very clear progression emotionally and lyrically, or in terms of the storytelling from the start to the end. Again, great vocals, maybe not as like, I was more gripped by the storytelling than I was thinking about his vocal delivery, but I think it works perfectly because he's just almost speak singing as he tells you what took place, and of course a nice rich guitar work over the course of the track. So yeah, a really compelling one. Absolutely enjoyed it, and it definitely had me locked into the emotional storytelling. So yeah, top tune. Let me know what you think. Once again, happy Canada Day. I will see you next time. Peace.